Look at this image. This is Aman'Thul, the High Father, the god of the gods in World of Warcraft universe, the symbol of order, justice, and evolution. When I was messing around with the NPCs to make my videos, I made a very weird discovery. Aman'Thul's teeth aren't like the teeth of the other titans. They look more like those of a terrifying, bloodthirsty creatures. You might think it's a coincidence, but you are making a mistake. And this is just the beginning of the story. I'm Haajix, and in this video, I will explain to you what kind of dangerous enemy we are facing. According to the Chronicle book, which is the Titan perspective of the world and can be considered a one-sided narrative, it says that they are the souls of planets. Titan Aman'Thul, who was the first Titan, awoke in the Great Dark Beyond, which is the physical space in the Warcraft cosmos. He was alone in the darkness of the cosmos, so he started fighting planets with souls and awakened the other titans as well. But there's a flaw in this story. Before I blow your minds, I need to give you some important information. For many years, we considered Azeroth a titan, until we realized she is a World Soul, and a Prime World Soul at that, meaning the most powerful World Soul. And through information obtained in the War Within expansion, we realized that Azeroth's soul is a prisoner. When the Titans found Azeroth, led by Aman'Thul, they personally studied her soul. They built structures and designed a system, a project called the Manifold. They said it was to save Azeroth from the influence of the old gods, but the evidence says otherwise.
To aid the Titans, we Keepers were tasked with engineering the Manifold, a vast world-spanning complex of machines, forges, and installations. Order to Azeroth, and create a means by which the Pantheon could examine the World Soul in depth.
The main goal of the Manifold System is the forced and involuntary conversion of Azeroth into a Titan. To do this, all the Titan facilities and forges were built. The Forge of Wills was built to strip Azeroth of her will, to take complete control of her mind, and to transform her from a primordial soul into a Titan soul. And Forge of Origination was meant to design her physical body and origin, forcing her to take the form of a Titan. Now, what happens if Azeroth wakes up in the shape of a Titan? Well, the planet gets destroyed. So practically, for the Titans, the conversion of Azeroth's soul into a Titan is so important. But it's not just this. Sargeras personally ordered Arcadius to build the core of the world.
We had the Earthen construct the World Core, a vast chamber at the heart of the world. There, the World Soul will slumber, with only the Titans to influence it.
Keeper Arcadius confessed in the archive records that the World Soul goes to sleep there so that only the Titans can influence her and they can reach her. That's why the Coreway was designed, a tunnel that reached the World Soul. You saw it in Donegal. And this confession proves that the World Core is a prison system to forcefully keep Azeroth asleep. Various people over the years have pointed out Azeroth being a prisoner.
This world is a prison.
And even the primal incarnates, who were enemies with the aspects, because they realized the Titan allies know no boundaries, and even the dragon eggs, not yet hatched and placed inside arcane-infused water in the ruby life pools, water that comes from the furnaces of the Forge of Infusion.
You think the Titans brought order to this world? No! They shackled it! What they could not control, they imprisoned. Just like the aspects did to us!
Now, if Azeroth's soul is in a prison and is forcefully being converted into a titan, we can consider her soul to be the same as the rest of the titans, meaning Titan Aman'Thul, the High Father, when he went to the planets and found the titan according to Chronicle, he probably brought this exact same process of converting Azeroth into a titan upon them too, meaning they were first fully converted into a titan, one by one. So, the main question is here, who woke Aman'Thul up? And I have the answer. Aman'Thul is not a titan at all, and is probably the main big bad of the Warcraft universe. And this is the main titan conspiracy that we will find out in the last titan. Because Azeroth's soul being a prisoner doesn't shock everyone, but this discovery that I made could be Aman'Thul's storyline plot, which of course Blizzard could connect it to Sargeras, and the reason Sargeras struck his sword into Azeroth could also be this. I'm not saying this, rather the Twilight Heremith says it.
Why did he strike this place? He was far too masterful a tactician to choose this target by chance. His crusade sought to eradicate all life from existence. Do you think his final act before being captured by the Pantheon would not be in service to that goal?
So, a warlord considers his last action before being captured to be destruction of the Manifold System, which leads to the Chamber of Heart, a place where even Keeper Raden didn't know about. And well, it seems this corridor connects directly to Azeroth's heart, because the sound of her heartbeat can be heard in the game's ambience. After Sargeras' sword struck Azeroth, many events happen. Azeroth is waking up. She gives her power to the dragons. She starts singing, and then she communicates with the heroes of the world. Even the massive blow to this manifold system caused the jailer to execute his plan, and he was waiting for this event to happen so he could reset the cosmos with Azeroth's soul. Of course, Azeroth has a powerful soul and has tried to resist, which brings us to the next clue. In Arcadius' specific log, he mentions that when the Urson participated in the process of building the World Core, some of them were exposed to Azeroth's soul. And according to Arcadius, Azeroth influenced them, and the robotic servants, their face became white like diamonds.
Champion!
And they started making decisions, gained a will, and started damaging the World Core structure. So it can be said Azeroth asked them to free her from this prison. And well, the Titan Keepers suppressed their uprising and wiped the Urson's memory. This is another piece of evidence that they don't want this soul to Titan conversion process to be disturbed. They even placed a large robotic giant in Khazalgar so that when the Urson decide to abandon their edict and directive, this robot acts like a red button and wants to destroy them all. And well, this was the Titan's defense protocol. You saw it in the War Within expansion. Of course, Azeroth's soul has influenced other creatures too, but very terrifying creatures. When the old gods ruled during the Black Empire, all their tentacles sank deep into the earth, and in my opinion, their tentacle reached Azeroth's soul. Look, the old gods had a mission to prepare Azeroth's soul to be devoured by the Void Lords, or to completely turn Azeroth's soul into a void being. But whatever it is, According to the Titans, they had succeeded 99%. But well, instead of finishing their mission, what did they do? They decide to rule. You know that if Azeroth woke up, these very old gods would most likely be killed too. So as a result, instead of finishing their mission, they stayed and ruled. We even have a very interesting sentence from Xal'atath that says,
You shall only watch this world as it gains untold power without you. You shall never lay claim to it.
why do the old gods want Azeroth to become powerful? And it's as if they are fans of Azeroth. And maybe the curse of flesh, which was created by the old gods, especially Oxoron, is actually a gift so one could escape the clutches of the Titan's control. If we pay attention to the arcane magic around Azeroth, the arcane ley lines are in reality warped around Azeroth like chains. Arcane magic is the symbol of order, and order also means controlling the Azeroth blood with the system the Titans designed, and these lines are fed by the blood of the World Soul itself. It can also act as a chain. But this is not the whole story. If you have liked this so far, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel so we can continue full of energy. Aman'Thul has the power to control time and can manipulate timelines and even see them, and he gave a part of his power to Nozdormu too by channeling energy to Keeper Raden and then to Nozdormu, so that Nozdormu protects the sacred timeline and prevents anyone from infiltrating the main time and destiny. The concept of destiny and the sacred timeline is very interesting, and I should make a separate video for it. But the question is here, why does the Dragon of Time, Nozdormu, decide to become Murozond? Based on the story data, Murozond is present outside of the time and attacks the timelines, and he turns into this form by the void forces, something we haven't seen yet in the Dawn of the Infinite Dungeon. True, we stopped Nozdormu from turning into Murozond, and there was no sign of the void forces. And even in the end time dungeon, the Murozond we saw had turned that area into his own base, not that he was from that timeline. And yet, all the Murozonds all have one thing in common, meaning seeing the end of everything. An end that is much, much worse than the destruction of the world by the Deathwing and the freeing of the old god Xalathas and devastation. And compared to that, this is a blessing.
The end time, I once called this place. I had not seen by then. I did not know. You hope to what? Stop me here? Change the fate I worked so tirelessly to weave? You crawl unwitting like a blind, writhing worm towards endless madness and despair. I have witnessed the true end time. This is a blessing you simply cannot comprehend.
So, an event happens that Aman'Thul probably knows about too, and might be the cause of it. Maybe this is why Nozdormu becomes Murozond and attacks the main timeline an infinite number of times, the timeline in which Azeroth's soul exists. And the interesting point is, maybe the sacred timeline doesn't exist at all. Meaning what? Meaning this timeline is the only timeline where the Titans don't get defeated, and Aman'Thul has to reach Azeroth's soul, and because of this, he protects only this timeline, and it is important to him. Iridikron also pointed to this, because in this main timeline, Azeroth has a soul.
Tell me, little one, have you ever questioned
Why the Titans preserve this timeline?
Would you like the next video to be about the ending of the world? definitely leave a comment so I can see if you like it, so I can make it. Each video takes me 4 or 5 days, so it's very important to me. I know you are interested or not. Now, the continuation of the story. Of course, Aman'Thul has given power to other peoples too. We can consider Odyn a weaker version of Aman'Thul in Azeroth. Odyn, the prime designate. In my opinion, his personality is like his master Aman'Thul. And of course, Odyn is not someone who can be trusted. The first reason is that at the end of the Dragonflight, despite all this help we gave to Odyn and freed him from his prison, he has become our enemy and attacks us.
Enough of this foolishness!
I agree.
The next reason, Odyn, in a very secret letter to the rest of the keepers during the ordering of Azeroth, tells information that no one should know, like orders that must always stay hidden. And we find that information where Odyn has ordered under no circumstances should mortals know anything about the main creators, meaning the first ones. Or he says, tell the mortals that during the Black Empire era of the old gods, there was nothing but devastation, ruin, and pain, and all the evidence and documents remaining from that time must be destroyed. And he says, tell the mortals, the Titans brought life and are the main gods, and all the goodness and wonders, great deeds belong to the Titans. When such an order is given in secret, one can think that it could actually be the exact opposite of the Odin's words, and he points out that the life force must be stopped and controlled because it brings chaos. Of course, other letters are found too, like the wreckage analysis report, which points out that the Odin's forces went to the other side of the storming sea, and there is an island called Avalorant, and there are creatures there that are called heretics. And the question is here, heresy to what? Why would they put such a name on them? And its answer is simple, heresy to the Titans. Because these creatures do not accept the Titans as gods, and maybe they know the truth, and because of this, Odin's military expedition begins. And in this letter, it points out they were defeated 4 times, which I definitely suggest you watch my video about the other side of Azeroth, and also like this video. Thank you.
Thank you.
But all of this shows one thing, Odyn is our enemy. Odyn spread lies in the world, and Odyn is the loyal servant of Aman'Thul, the person he takes orders from. And with Tyr's return and the good relationship he has with us and the dragons, a huge civil war will probably happen when Tyr is in our side. Of course, this is not the end of the story. Other individuals also serve Aman'Thul, and interestingly, they only serve Aman'Thul. Creatures called Constellars, of which you have seen 2, Rygelon and Algalon the Observer. Their job is reporting and serving Aman'Thul personally. In Ulduar, Algalon wanted to reset the world because he has orders. A message was sent from Prime Designate Loken that this world is corrupted, and it doesn't matter to Algalon. He simply serves and is willing for all of life on Azeroth to be destroyed.
Begin uplink. Reply code Omega. Planetary reorigination requested.
Rygelon is also sent to Zereth Mortis for spying. And notice, Zereth Mortis is a place that no one can enter. The jailer, with the help of the 5 keys of the Eternal Ones put together, was able to enter it. It's a place where the world of Shadowlands was built by the first ones. The question is here, how did the Constellar come here? Certainly by the order of the Aman'Thul. And when you just kill him, he points to an event an ending that is supposed to happen later, exactly like Murozond.
You fail to see what is coming.
Perhaps this Constellar race originates from Xeras Ordus, a place where the first ones may have established the order to create life, or perhaps it is the primary source of all arcane energy in the universe. It is even possible that the Titans go there when they die. In my opinion, this race belongs to that specific realm. And inside his loot there is a finger that has written on it, "Be prepared for my arrival," which is certainly Aman'Thul, because Aman'Thul is with the rest of the Titans and is absent. But we also have another clue of Aman'Thul being evil. In patch 10.2, we found a book called Into the Nature of the Dream. In this book, a character explains that the Word of Life is a dimension and realm that we were able to see a part of as the Emerald Dream. And just as you, my audience, know, if you try to go outside of the Emerald Dream, a jade wall stops you and you get teleported. This is the same wall the author refers to, and he says, "I was able to exit and then I saw life. I was able to see other lands, and even in the middle of it I was able to find its center. Godlike creatures were present there," which certainly he means the pantheon of life, which Elun must also be part of it. And he says life forms exist in different models, not just the thing that we know. If we take this documentary evidence, my opinion is this: the Titans were able to control a part of the world of life, but they couldn't control all of it. And because of this, Odyn says we must control the life force. And they can even place their own puppet, Weaver Nimoy, whose duty is also to bring order to this exact region. And she produces jade walls, which is also her boss fight ability. And with the Shadowlands information, we know Elun and Winter Queen are also sisters. The land of Arden World and Emerald Dream are like winter and summer. And if death and life are like two sides of a coin, then now everything makes sense to me. That the Titans, or even Aman'Thul, was able to control the death force, give it order, and shape it exactly the way he wants. You know, there is a weird feeling of symmetry and order in Shadowlands, and the denizens of the Shadowlands always talk about purpose and the pattern that must be protected.
Trust the path.
And even the appearance of the Eternal Ones is like a robot. We saw in Xeras Mortis how vessels are made, or the early prototypes of the Eternal Ones, which reminds me of the Titans Watchers and Keepers. And well, this is the same order that reminds me of Sylvanas' word about the Shadowlands too.
You have noticed, have you not? The Maw, the Shadowlands, all of it. The question that has plagued me since the Jailer's demise. I know the truth of death better than most. This, it is too convenient, too ordered. The Shadowlands are not at all what they seem. I cannot rest until I've uncovered the truth.
And also, Arator has pointed out that the land of the Maw is familiar.
Alien. Unknowable. But these structures are...
Familiar. I agree. I have seen past the veil of true death, Arator. There is more to the Shadowlands than it seems.
In my opinion, the land of the Maw could be the main city of the Word of the Death that was destroyed and ruined by Titan Aman'Thul and turned into hell. And Torghast Tower itself is a prison, an infinite prison for what? We know that the Jailer didn't build it, and it was there from before. And you know, it is located above Icecrown in the dimension of death. Are these things coincidental? I don't know. So, Aman'Thul was able to control death, but he couldn't control the life force. And Sylvanas understood the reality of this. Something in the Shadowlands that we saw is not normal. And if we also look at domination magic, domination calls controlling, and controlling brings order, which is what Aman'Thul wants. And I will tell you an important story fact. The Primus of Maldraxxus created domination magic. He is a warlord and can predict the future, and he got that power from a powerful entity. And it is said he hasn't lost any war. Well, it's very simple. He saw Aman'Thul, and maybe Aman'Thul gave a part of his power to the Primus, and domination magic might be Aman'Thul's creation with the power of death for control. In the book Legends of Elun'Ahir, it talks about a tree that was the mother of all trees, and its seed was gifted by Elun to Eonar, and Eonar also planted and names it Elun'Ahir, and then Titan Aman'Thul rips it out of its place and destroys it, and tells Eonar that the life force must be stopped because we cannot control it, and he cuts the tree. The fun part is here. After the tree was cut, Eonar gave an order to her servant Freya to protect the roots of the tree. And there are earthen called the Freysorn in Dornegal who exactly have orders to do this very thing, which certainly in the last patch of the War Within expansion we were supposed to go to the land of the Rootlands, just as the Haranir were supposed to be in this land, and we'd see them in the War Within, but they got caught and were added to the next expansion Midnight. And the land of Rootlands is certainly that the same Harandar that you saw in Midnight. The Haranir points out that their goddess Elun'Ahir was in a large cradle that is in the middle of the land, and they came here because of their goddess call. And Oriana says that their goddess was stolen, taken without permission, and probably, in my opinion, it must be Titan's doing, and they placed her into the world core so they could turn her into a shape of the Titan with the Manifold System, not the way she was primordial, like all the life that remained untouched in Harandar. The Sunwell is a gateway because thousands of years ago, Tharthamar Sunstrider poured the waters of the Well of Eternity spring into it. The same spring that was built with Azeroth's blood after Y'Shaarj was killed by Aman'Thul, and the Keepers, by the order of the Titans, placed wards to heal Azeroth's wound. So it can be said that inside the Sunwell is the power of Azeroth's soul too, and the Sunwell is built on the arcane energy ley lines. The same thing I explained acts like a chain around Azeroth. But the important thing is this: the building of the Well of Eternity Spring was done with the influence and power of the Titans, using Azeroth's blood. And because of this, Xalathas wanted to push that spring to absolute darkness so it could be crossed, and the place where Xalathas is currently present is exactly where we're going in the final season of the Midnight, meaning the world core. Definitely check out my video about Xalathas' checkmate and her final plan. And all of this goes back to the trap that Iridikron set for the Titans. Iridikron pointed out that Azeroth is the Titan prize, just as Xalathas wants Azeroth's soul and will take it out of the Titan's clutches.
All they wanted was our world. And when the Titans come to reclaim their prize, I will be waiting.
And this will cause them to return to Azeroth in the last Titan expansion. And that's where Iridikron is ambushing to destroy them, because Iridikron knows the reality of Titans, especially Aman'Thul. And up to here, I personally, as a YouTuber, trust Iridikron more than Titan Aman'Thul. Now, in your opinion, are the teeth that we saw in the Roar emote, meaning the anger of Aman'Thul's NPC, a coincidence? Or did Blizzard really put this as an Easter egg on purpose for someone like me who is too curious? What do you think? Is Aman'Thul really the big bad of the Warcraft universe? Leave your opinion in a comment for me. Definitely, if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe and like button. And until the next video, peace fucking out.